Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The speaker.
They up? No, I hit it too hard.
Somebody go check on it?
Yep. Anything yet?
Okay, I got a blue light without a red light.
It's on.
There we go. It's on now. Hear us now, Terry? Okay. Debbie, call the roll, please.
Beitman?
Present.
Biesinger?
Present.
Voss?
Present.
Ekis?
Present.
Fry?
Present.
Gross?
Present.
Schroller?
Present.
Crom?
Present.
We have quorum.
Everybody had a chance to look over the minutes, the last regular meeting, November 28th, 2016. Is there any motions or corrections needed to be made to it?
Approve the minutes of November 28th.
Amend?
What?
Are you amending?
No, I'm approving it.
Second.
Was there any amendment? Do you have any? No, okay.
Bill was the second.
Bill was second, okay. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Public comments. This portion of the meeting is to be held up to a maximum of 5 minutes. Please come up to the podium, state your name and your item you'd like to discuss. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to come up and discuss anything under the public portion? Tony?
Come up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tony Deaver, CES Group, 1102 Broadway and 1110 Zuffa Drive in Ward 1. Hard to believe it's been 12 months since I was here last. Thanking you guys again for all the opportunities you give us to work here in our hometown. So we certainly appreciate that. There's some meat and cheese tray in the side room for you guys to snack on, and we appreciate it again and look forward to next year.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you,
Tony.
We appreciate you.
Anybody else have any public comments they'd like to bring? Okay, we'll go on forward with business and discussion items. Wayne Cruzy, you back there?
I'm here,
All right.
and my sidekick tonight is Barb Kickhafer.
Okay.
We are representing Convention and Tourism. We ordered extra copies of Kansas Magazine, the one that announces that we are one of the 5 best small towns in Kansas, so you have a complimentary copy to do with as you please.
Thank you.
Barb and I are here tonight to give you an update and to ask for your permission to move forward with hiring our Director of Convention and Tourism. I believe this conversation started in August. Recently, we interviewed 2 candidates. On the interview team was Mayor Grund, Austin, Barb, myself, and Mary Feldhausen. And so we interviewed 2 candidates, and tonight we're bringing the name of Michelle Weitzel to you. We interviewed 2 people, as we said, and we felt Michelle was the most qualified. She came to us with portfolios, with a full resume, of a vast background of marketing, which is what we're looking for. So we think she would be a great fit. A couple months ago, Keith, you asked about kind of what's an average salary, and so in our research, it looks like directors of convention and tourism make anywhere between $38,000 and $56,000 for a full-time person. So we're recommending Michelle, and we feel that at a part-time position, we'd like to pay her $20,000.
I was just going to talk to you a little bit about 4 months ago when the city approved that we go forward and search for a convention and tourism director. We talked about, you approved that, but we shouldn't exceed $26,000. So at the time, we discussed a salary range between 17 and 22, depending on how much experience the applicants came with. Did you give that to them?
I have Michelle's resume, if you want to see it. Yeah.
We had 2 really good applicants, and we looked at our budget, and we noticed our last transient gifted tax deposit was $16,735. That makes our total revenue for the year $66,878. So the guest tax that came in for 2016 is a little over 11,000 more than we projected. And at previous meetings, we discussed that we felt our budget could handle this position, and we just want to reiterate that this evening. We think hiring this new director will help us continue to grow that revenue. Our last 6 years, we've brought in more guest tax than we anticipated in our budget. So this year, we're a little over $11,000 more than we thought. So we would like, as a Convention and Tourism, we'd like to request that you pay Michelle and the company that she creates for this position if we pay her $20,000. I just checked today, and we had 3 really big projects, but we're still under budget for the year, and we're $11,000 ahead on revenue, so I think we can still do this.
As a point of reference, I was in on, as he said, on the interviews. We had 2 really good, really good. We could hire either one of them. And they both do a great job. They both had their pluses. They both had their negatives, and they both admitted to them. But Michelle, with an added advantage of actually being a part of the group that was designing this whole thing. But we sat down, we talked about it, and I was like, set that whole thing aside. Set the fact that she knows everything that you know. She dropped a stack of books this tall that had nothing to do with what they talk about on a daily basis that would blow anybody out of the water. And I agree with the hiring of Michelle as a director.
Effective when?
January.
January 1st.
And it'd be as contract labor.
Contract labor, yes.
For a 1-year contract, right?
For a 1-year contract, yes.
Who designed the contract?
We haven't designed a contract yet.
Okay.
You're basically asking for us to approve moving forward with
Yes.
creating the contract.
Yes.
Move to approve. Move to approve to move forward with a contract for hiring Michelle Whitesell for the Convention and Tourism Director.
Salary of $20,000.
Salary of $20,000, 1-year contract.
Second.
Do we need to say about where it's to be paid from, or is that just a
Convention and
Probably should.
Convention and tourism.
Yeah.
Head tax.
A second, that motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second to hire Michelle Whitesell to be the Director of Tourism for $20,000 effective January 1st, 2017 for a 1-year contract and contract labor coming from the Convention and Tourism Fund. I have a motion and a second.
Transient guest tax.
Transient guest tax, excuse me. Okay.
Any discussion?
Any discussion on the? No discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank
help.
you very much.
That's fine.
I'm assuming
Bye,
this is for
guys.
us, Debbie, to take? Since
Yes.
I keep
Yes.
forgetting to.
Do you have anything else on your updates?
Yes, we have other things to
Yeah,
talk
so you
about.
had a few
I'm
other
so
things,
sorry.
Wayne.
Yes. Thursday is Mrs. Claus's Soup and Sing-Along. It's an event that we created, we've had this Christmas Destination Committee, and as we were working on all the stuff that was going on in December to get people to come to Marysville, we noticed there was a lot of stuff the first weekend, the second weekend of December, but as the month wore on, the events were a little bit slimmer, so we decided, hey, let's do a soup and chili cook-off. So it looks like so far we have about 15 people who've entered. It would be great if some of our council members would like to enter a soup or a chili to see if you could be chosen the grand champion. We'll also have a Christmas Carol sing-along at 5:36 and 6:30, so you can come and sing. If you don't want to make a soup, but you would like to help us serve or greet, we could sure use your help. So just call me at the Advocate tomorrow. All right?
Fine.
I think that's, and so what you're approving tonight then, in our request is that we're spending up to $750 on this event. When people come, they'll pay $5 to sample all of the soups and to vote, and then they can also buy hot dogs and desserts for an additional charge, so those expenses will then be recouped.
Move to approve request for funds, $750 from Convention and Tourism for the Mrs. Claus Soup and Sing-Along. Expenses to be recouped from people buying soup and cookies at the event, December 15th, 2016, 5 to 7 p.m.
I second it.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve $750 for the Convention and Tourism Soup Cook-Off and Christmas Sing-Along. Do I have a second? Second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
Any discussion? No
Special
discussion?
thanks to the Hellring Community Center for providing this space for free.
Thank you, Hillbring Center.
All in motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Wayne, did you, have we been through this, the request for funds for these wonderful magazines we just got? Have we?
We're sure hoping
Should
you're
we
going to
do
say
that?
yes, because they've been ordered. I thought that probably, we voted on that and said yes, and then they sent them to us, so.
Since it's before us, I move to the request for funds of Convention and Tourism for 25 copies of Kansas Magazine, $62.50.
Second.
Maybe the wisest $62.50 we've spent.
Very impressive.
I
know.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, got a motion second to approve 25 copies of the Kansas Magazine for $62.50 Convention and Tourism. Any discussion on this? All approves, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne.
She's not here.
That was just for info.
Okay. Dave Richardson. Come on down. Where do you already, my friend? Intermodal containers overview. I know we spent a lot of time last meeting discussing this and what goes where and how it goes, so it looks like you pretty well got it narrowed down.
We're getting a little closer. We have one on the back page, the I-1. I think all the industry was supposed to be a permitted use.
Correct.
Okay, and I did I-1 as a use permitted, so. I did have another question on the R3, what you wanted to do. On the use permitted or not, on the in the I-1?
I know that was the one we were struggling with because it's got light industry in it.
Yes. So actually how that works is an R3 does have the light industry that goes along with the zoning. If you're going to do something in light industry, then you go to the light industry section and everything that's permitted use there is allowed, but you have to do a use permitted upon review, which is a public hearing, site plan, and everything like that, so.
I thought the R3 we were going to make just like the R1 and R2, just temporary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here, so. Trying to figure out how you would, how do you think they could do that, Craig? Could a guy just leave the industry part out on the intermodal and just make it not?
I don't know at this point.
Because if we're going to permit it in the I-1,
Right.
if you go to those uses, it's permitted, which the R3 with light industry says anything in I-1 is permitted with the use permitted upon review. So I'm just not sure how we would separate the two.
Basically, we just don't want them in residential areas, period. But that light industry really kicks the problem in there. And what do you do with light industry? If someone wants to use one for storage or, temporary, is another thing, but.
Because light industry does allow storage units and different things, so.
Yeah. And the light industry, how is it treating, there's residential as part of that, am I understanding?
Yeah, it's in a residential.
Non-conforming.
Yeah.
And it's right next to residential too.
Well, all of R3, has light industry in it.
Well, C2 does too.
And then Dave and I were talking
Yes.
about that section that runs along the east side of 7th Street corridor.
You're right up to your ear.
There's really not much
There's much
industry
commercial in there.
anymore.
Not anymore. Just a
That
couple.
probably ought to be rezoned.
Yes, I think it should too.
Zone it, what, R2?
Yeah, it might as well be R2 again.
Because that's where, that's all R2 up there. But I guess the question is, because the R3 does incorporate the I-1 as a
Permitted use?
upon review, permitted upon review, if you want to.
Okay.
I mean, I'd see it as a challenge to separate that sort of thing out. I mean,
So what that really takes is somebody wants something down there, they have to make applications, submit a site plan, have a public hearing, go through that process.
No different than putting up a commercial building and basically an R3 then.
right.
Yes.
That'd be okay.
Because then if somebody doesn't want it, they can protest it.
Yep.
So
And
correct,
that puts up quite a bit of a roadblock.
Yeah, all your light industry businesses and that, do that process down in
Right.
R3.
the way this is drawn up, this is good.
Well, I mean, I think as long as it's, and I think that's what you're talking through, is the concern is, and tell me if I'm not stating this correctly, allowing somebody to put in one of these containers without the proper vetting, without the proper screening, in a place that wasn't originally intended for them to go, or the council didn't necessarily foresee it going. But if you've got review mechanisms in place on some of those gray areas, if you will, I mean, doesn't that alleviate that concern that they can't just automatically put one down and be
Right.
in compliance, that they've got to go through some steps and it'll get vetted and
We'll have to come in and see Dave and then,
We can go through the
they'll have to go through the planning board and then public hearing will be called. How far out does that public hearing go, Dave? If someone wants to put one in, what's the radius out around it? They have to contact the neighborhood,
200 feet.
200 feet.
the temporary permitted use, as I'm reading through, there's a public health, safety, and welfare clause to it, so it could get revoked if it's determined that it's violating public welfare. Beyond that, what is the term, the temporary, how temporary are we talking?
Well, up there on the application, temporary was going to be 6 months and an extension of 6 months
Right.
if needed. They were going to go $100 on a 40-footer for a permit fee, so I just thought, what if they do a 20? So I just kind of broke that down to $250 a linear foot and,
Effort?
yep.
Yeah, if someone's doing a house remodel, we didn't care if they brought one in, to take stuff out, store it, but we don't want it as a permanent fixture in the yard.
And I think as this gets, when we're ready to send this to you, Craig, we can go through these that I made here, if they need to be put in different
And
arrangements.
I think they should be put on the property and not in the street.
I agree with that too, Darlene.
Well, we discussed that, right? That they were to be put behind buildings? They were not to be
No,
there?
this is,
That's permanent
this is
stuff.
the temporary.
This is
The
temporary.
permanent
We're talking
stuff
about
behind
temporary.
it's behind the buildings, yeah. But temporary.
Temporary can be on the street with barricades, cones, or reflective safety features.
I just put that in there. I mean, if you're gonna allow temporary use downtown here, there's no place else they can put it but out in parking.
That is true.
But what about in residential?
Some residential, there's no place to put it except out on the street.
I'd just soon have it sitting out on the street in the parking and plowed up,
Yeah, it's easier.
plowed up in their front yard and messing with the sidewalks and everything.
It'd be easier to take care of, I guess, and I guess notice if it was in the front, in the street than if someone happened to snuck one in behind a house somewhere and put a fence up behind it,
Well, there's a lot of backyards you probably couldn't put it in because of a fence or because of the size. I don't see that many people getting one to
I don't either.
do something like that in a residential. I mean, yeah,
Commercial places, are a big build.
I don't think somebody's gonna rent one for 6 months while they remodel their house, but I may be wrong. We're just trying to address everything we can address in the thing.
Most of your contractors, they bring their own trailer in, but it's usually on wheels and everything and stuff.
Right, and there are, Casey's didn't. See, Casey's office was it was just one of these containers with doors in it. And I talked to a contractor the other day, AHRS, theirs was on wheels. I was telling them, they were bidding some stuff, and I says, well, if you do, and this happens to come through, you're gonna need this for, and he says, well, they have one on wheels and stuff, but most of those they're licensed and tagged and everything, so.
That wouldn't fall under this.
I would think you would wanna leave them out if they're that type of a office.
Do we need to make a motion to give this to Craig to?
Well, are we done with this yet? I mean, because I know there was some stuff we didn't address last meeting.
The only thing you really didn't address, you tabled, was the semi-trailer.
The semi stuff, right. But is that
I mean, if you guys wanna go more depth into this, definitions and stuff here, we can do that. I mean,
Did we talk about how they might get weeded themselves out because semi-trailers have to be tagged and, can we, I mean...
But that wouldn't fall underneath the same thing.
Yeah, there's one trailer I know of, that there's no wheels or axles or anything under it anymore. They've cut it all off, and it's just dropped on the ground.
Yeah, but as we go on into the future now, how do you want to handle those?
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I guess if they're going to tag them and keep them as a licensed vehicle, I don't
know how you could, because they have to have their yearly stickers on them.
Yep.
Inspection stickers. Not really you can do anything about them once they got tagged and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, most of them that are going to sit there and use them for storage aren't going to, they bought some worn out trailer anyway, so.
Yeah.
I'd probably say no semi-trailers used for storage. I mean, something along those lines. Because, I mean, you got these, if you want these for the temporary storage or whatever, that's great. They're not going to roll off or...
Yeah. And these are probably better built.
Oh, yeah.
These are more structurally sound. I mean, we could say no untagged, but I think we probably already have stuff that...
I don't think you could probably pull in a semi, take the wheels off and get it picked up and out of there in 6 months as a temporary use anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
we're saying we can cover the trailers under a different ordinance then
I
to
have,
address that. I thought that's where we left it, is we wanted to see if we could address it.
Under a different circumstance.
unregistered vehicle.
A question on that though, the recycling, the trailers that are up there for the recycling.
That's
Usually
tagged trailer.
recycling. Is it a tag trailer?
There's a
So
tag.
then it's okay then. Okay, good.
It's not,
Yeah.
they move it, what, once every month?
After they get full, so, yeah, it doesn't just
Box
sit there.
in the corner of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think these semis, you're mainly gonna be discussing storage, period.
And the only thing I didn't see listed is we talked about what we were gonna do, the grandfathering in. Is that totally separate from this, of the existing?
I think we could probably put wordage in there that anything, Craig,
Certainly
most of these,
add something in there.
yeah, most of these have a wording that anything after the date of this, you go with what was there or you go with now.
And
Well,
if-
I mean, you might want to clarify if those are existing legally that were put in place prior to this added language. I suppose there still could be an issue raised that they didn't go through the process to get there. Is that what you're saying when you say grandfather in, that they will not have to go through the process to get a temporary use, that they're good as they sit here today?
That's what they discussed last time.
Okay.
We also discussed requiring that they be removed, that they not go with a new deed.
Yeah, if the
And
property
that's under
Sewer cha-
permitted use, we have that.
if the property sells, that the container
Sells
must,
or changes hands, like if they deed it off to a
I
family.
put that on the permitted use up there.
Yeah.
I think the last sentence, that all permits are void.
I think we just wanted to make sure that the six that are already, that were permitted, that we agreed to
yeah.
allow those to
Pre-existing
stay.
permits are void? That last sentence, all permits are void, you mean all permits that have been issued? Or have there been any permits issued?
No, they just discussed if I issue permits for these permanent containers, that's what we'll do. Now, the ones that they allow to have permanent, if I issue a permit, and if that property gets sold, then it has to
Then
go
it's voided.
with the property.
But we do have six that we issued permits for before wasn't it six?
Yeah.
That we did issue permits for.
I think it'd be prudent to put some language to address
Okay.
any pre-existing intermodal containers, just to be clear as to how they're going to be treated, assuming they're all going to be treated the same,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whether it's to leave them, remove them, whatever. What does the council decide?
We
to
want
do?
them removed when they leave. If the property changes hands,
But until that happens, they're fine as they are, where they are, even if this new language subsequently would have required them to go through some other steps potentially.
Yes.
Because even the use permitted, so you allow that, if that person sells that property and that container's not going to be used for the same purpose that it was being used for, it has to be removed too. No different than if you did a use permitted to allow a business there, if they sold that business and it went to a different type of business, you can't do that. Because the use permitted went with that type of business there. They'll have to redo the use permitted to use something different.
I'm just wondering if you just want to add one more section that basically repeats the first one, but takes out the first sentence and repeats that they have to be painted or tinned and that they're void, but the first sentence is that you're basically allowing for the 6 permits issued prior to, and they can stay in their current location because we didn't ask them to move them, or because the other one says they have to be behind the building, which is not
Right.
gonna, but you could repeat the other 2 because we did want them to go ahead and paint them if they hadn't been painted yet.
Craig,
I did put that a little different, not just behind, I did put kind of towards the loading dock or the rear of the buildings for like, you got Valley Vet and Walmart, that's about the only place they would be able to do that, so.
Craig, when we have it, when it says container shall be removed from location at time of resale of property, do we have to put verbiage in there that if it's gifted, if you give it to someone rather than sell it, is there a difference, or anytime it changes hands from one owner to another?
Well, maybe if the council's wanting, city wants it to be broader, transfer of the property, which would encompass,
there you go.
However it was transferred by.
Whether they sell it or gift it.
Money was exchanged, or if it was gifted, if that's the intent of the city.
That's the intent as far as I see.
Sale or transfer?
Yes.
Instead of resale, transfer.
Sale or transfer.
Sale.
You want to do what now?
Instead of resale, have transfer of property.
Want to permit use there.
And would it be a good idea to just maybe create a definition section? I think there's some definitions maybe sort of contained in some of this language already, but very clearly kind of sift it out, define, what are we talking about when we say intermodal container?
Right.
And other things that are already defined. Obviously, the districts, the areas are, without having it in front of me, I'm sure are defined. We know what those are, but as necessary, I can assist with doing that too. Do we has that been discussed enough? Is there an understood definition as to what constitutes you sort of distinguish the semi-trailer from an intermodal container. Those are two entirely different things, treated entirely differently. Do we have a definition formulated? I don't know if other cities have,
No, we don't.
defined it in a way that Marysville is okay with. I think we all know it when we see it, but it probably needs to have a definition. I don't want to complicate it more than it already is.
Like I said,
Two steps backwards here, but
you can take that semi further because you're going to have box trucks too.
No to them too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, you're gonna really to get every single.
Well, we need to get our neighborhoods back to neighborhoods.
Yeah. Instead of storage spots.
Yes.
maybe if I could suggest, I haven't looked at this as in depth as I would feel comfortable doing and saying everything's good from the city attorney's standpoint, but in looking at it further, maybe creating a definition section as small as that might be, adding some, or at least considering some grandfathering language, making little changes like the resale to transfer, working with Dave and whoever else has sort of been in on this, because I obviously haven't been present during some of these conversations, bits and pieces of it. Kind of have a proposed one after my office has looked at it, and then it would be subject to further discussion, potentially final approval. Does that seem like the natural next step? I don't know, does the council need to discuss more? Sounds like the semi-trailers being, that issue's tabled, it's not going to be included in this.
I think
It's another
what about
issue.
like a box trailer, Dave? Would that fall under?
That's what I'm saying. You got them box trucks, and they'll take the back end off those too. And
well, those can be addressed, whether it's excluding them or not.
Because this here pretty much.
But they could almost be put right in with your semi stuff
Yes.
boxes,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. Because most of this here on this we talked about that you wrote up is all just basically for the intermodal containers.
That's right.
kind of what we worked on to start with.
Yeah. Why don't we just get this part here and we agree and get it sent to Craig and he can kind of write it up and work on it and bring it back to us and present it. And if we need to make more changes, we'll go from there and then we'll go into the next step of it on the semi-trailers and box trailers and that from that point.
Next council meeting?
27th.
Okay. Well, I don't see why something couldn't be put on the agenda for the next meeting. It looks like most of the work's been done.
Yeah, I think it's going to you, so.
I'm just reviewing.
Do you think
Yeah, that's all we were kind of doing here tonight, was kind of getting our review of it before it basically came to you. And
Okay. And if there's, in my review, some issues that haven't been discussed, or at least not tonight, that need to be considered, then do we have an ultimate deadline that this was intended to be 100% completed by, enacted,
No.
ready to go?
No.
Well, regardless, we'll move forward, and if it needs to be
I think we just need to get it where we want it before we
give it the
stamp it.
Yeah, the stamp.
Right.
I was wondering if temporary use application, if 10 days in advance was a long enough time period.
I just kind of got that out of Concordia's. I think 10 days is fine, yeah, if you're gonna get something. You got a construction outfit coming, we can figure out where they're gonna put them and stuff.
Is that consistent with temporary use permits for other things? Again, I don't have it in front of me.
You mean with other permits?
Yeah. Understanding they're different in nature, but.
Building permits, yeah, you're supposed to, somebody comes in and, yeah, kick them out in 10 days and stuff, so. This is kind of just the opposite. I think this just gives you 10 days to review where they're going to set them and stuff. How many they're gonna do and.
Well, if everybody's happy with it, do we want to make a motion so we can send it to city attorney or just send it by consensus?
Consensus.
Consensus is good enough for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. We'll have the city attorney work on it and get in touch with Dave and Austin and see if we can get this much of the intermodal containers hammered out.
Okay.
Get back to us.
All right.
All right.
Don't leave, Dave.
Yeah, don't leave, Dave.
I wouldn't.
Okay, notices and hearings. Walter Marlnick at 1205 Carolina. Is he here tonight? Oh.
That seems that.
Okay.
Did he quit?
Don't look up.
He made a lot of progress the first month, but this last time, I don't know if the weather got to him or not. But
I'm assuming, but yeah, he's just.
I drove by yesterday and it
same as it was.
awful.
Have you gotten worse again? Or do you think it's just been...
It hasn't changed in a
No,
month.
it ain't got any worse, it just hasn't.
Okay.
If anything, he might have started building a wall on the west property line out of the rocks.
Yeah,
I don't think that wall was there before.
I couldn't tell whether he moved some stuff and we can see it now, or whether he did start working on it.
Yeah, I mean, back of that back porch, he made a little progress in taking some stuff out of there, but it didn't go any further, so. Not like he was working on it.
And he may be sick. I'd be sick if I got up and looked at that every day.
Not pretty.
What's our options, Dave? I know we can go in and clean
You
it.
keep working with him, or we have to go up and take it stuff, get rid of it.
All the little crushed rock back here by the garage and all that stuff, what was he gonna do with all that?
We'll haul it off, the way he sounded.
I don't think he's...
His original intention was making a retaining wall on the east side of that property. That's where he's got that old dugout.
Right.
but I don't know.
I know he had the back porch all, looks like tarped or tie-backed or something
Tarp paper.
at one time back there, and
This guy had good intentions to start with. See, all the brick was gonna make, he's gonna brick the front of that house and stuff, but I think then he realized he had no brick ledge and he couldn't set all that brick on the porch. Kind of put the stop to that.
Oh, that wasn't for the driveway?
No, he just started using it for the driveway then to get rid of it.
Well, it worked on the other house to basically draw another line in the sand. I don't know if we...
Have you contacted him lately?
I have not seen him this month, no.
Well, I'm with Brad. I think we draw another line, and the reason being, he's trying, these materials cost him money. I hate to go in and just take it away from him, and two, I hate to see our employees doing this kind of labor. It's strenuous, and I'd just as soon let the homeowner take care of it, if that means giving him another month, then send our guys in there to make them, to make them do this. I think it's putting us in a position of our employees getting hurt, because this isn't the kind of work they signed up for. I mean, I know if we tell them to do it, then that's their job. I understand that. But I think it's a little unfair to them that, that they end up cleaning up houses up around town. I say talk to the man, let's find out, is he going to give up on it now, and then we just haul it off? Or is he going to continue to work on it?
I would think in the cold weather, he could work on the lumber and in the back porch area and stuff. Now, the rocks and building a wall, it's going to be freezing out, you're kind of...
Yeah, I can't do that.
I mean, he's done with that. That's not going to happen.
yeah, and it's like the driveway, there won't be any way you can get those pavers down or those brick down in that driveway with it being this cold.
Right.
He really needs to move that out of the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
just,
that's what he was working on
it's
before the
kind of like,
last meeting, he was working on that
he
stuff.
keeps extending it out with his landscaping timbers.
Well, what he laid out there was some, there were like socks for silting, like you use for a silt fence, a straw sock thing. Well, he laid some of them out there when he was gonna take all that out and redo it. Well, then now they're out there, so. He just didn't go anywhere after he started that.
Well, maybe he just needs to understand, that we're still looking at him. Maybe he's the kind that needs a little encouragement or someone to be checking up on him, saying, you have to keep going. We can't stop here. It's not done.
And I don't know where the washer and dryer come from. It just showed up.
Oh, great.
Out front there.
Out front here.
Yeah.
It sits there and
I don't know if it's something he collected and it's going to sell, or if it's going to use it, or,
Maybe
Well,
it's a
it's
Christmas
been
present.
there for a while.
yeah.
Council, we want to give him a month and see what he does. That would be January 9th. See how much he progresses, or
What's the expectation for the 9th? Is it all done?
there's
At some
no
point.
way he can get it all done with
but if he
moving
cleans the back up and gets
If he
rid of the washer and dryer.
It'd be nice if he could get work on that back porch and get it enclosed,
That's
or
right.
huh?
Yeah, that to me is the biggest.
Shows some progress.
Show some progress on
progress,
it.
yeah.
I mean, that type of stuff there could be worked on in cold weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is it just a washer and dryer in the driveway, or is it, there's other stuff?
Oh, no,
There's all sorts of stuff down the driveway.
I would say it's get the
when you
driveway cleaned up, get the front porch cleaned off, do the back. You got to at least get the junk out of there.
But when you get back there a ways, you think that's a pile of a lot of things back there, but that's a pile of dirt that he took off for that retaining wall, and that's all mounted back there in that driveway.
It's just got rakes and stuff and a camphor shell laying on top of the mound.
And the camper shell, where did he put it? It was up in the front.
It's back here toward the,
It's back there by the garage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was out there by the front porch last time.
I'd say January 9th.
Yes.
If you could just get it like the west side of the house would be a
Yeah,
Maybe next summer.
West Side's beautiful.
yeah. You know, and if you get those block moved up in the driveway further, I mean, that setting out in front of the house would make a big improvement
Well, where'd
too.
you put them?
Yeah.
You'd have to set them on the driveway there,
Where
but
the
at least
dirt-
they'd be out from in front of the, directly in front of the house.
And just
Where the
putting
washer and
those,
dryer is.
putting those type of brick in that driveway, I think when he drives on it, he's gonna crush
I
them.
think so too.
So if you got a tractor up there and picked them up and moved them over on the drive, I think it's just gonna crush. I think the driveway's not gonna make it anyways. 'Cause those aren't solid pavers, they
Right.
have the holes in them, and they're just, and he's laying them on the side, so.
They'll crush when
Maybe a
pressure's
conversation with him, to explain that, that's not gonna work anyway. And maybe he'd be willing to sell them. I mean, surely somebody wants those. He could recoup some of his costs by selling those off. Somebody with proper equipment could come take them, pay him for them. Something, he's gotta get off center and get going. Kinda like the other project, he's come so far, he just needs to complete.
Can I recommend that we, as opposed to just setting a deadline, maybe even by the next meeting, we probably, if he's not gonna get all this done in a month, which I understand that, then we need a plan that says, okay, even if it's 3 months, okay, by this point, I'm gonna get this done, by this point, because I feel like he made progress, but now we're kind of saying, well, there's all this stuff, but there's no kind of
Put him on one certain
progressive.
area each month.
But have him, have him tell you what he's gonna get done, and we can hold him to it. I mean, I don't wanna.
Maybe that's the thing, maybe Dave can come
But I
back.
think he needs, I think that back portion, that stuff back there needs to be.
Yeah.
And that's doable in the cold weather.
Yeah, but let him kind of spell out, but in the end, it's still gotta be done.
Yeah, we need to see some improvements along the way.
And we're gonna hold him accountable to those deliverables he's got, and we'll see if we.
Yeah, this is the first time he's really just quit.
Yeah.
He made pretty good progress up that
He did.
last month, and then, yeah.
Are
Not
you
like I said, I don't know if the cold got him or.
still in contact with hers?
I haven't talked to him for a few weeks either, no.
Well, I can't see any more progress there.
Boy, I thought he did. I thought it looked pretty nice.
Compared to what it did, yeah. But it's still kind of bad.
Yeah,
But I don't drive by there every day.
I do.
There's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference. Okay, so we're gonna give him till January 9th to progress on his,
I'll tell him we're on that back part.
okay,
Set the goals.
set a goal or have him show up and tell us what his goal is.
I think at least if we give him a goal, he would do it. I got more faith there than the other one.
Direction.
All right,
It's fine. But it sounds like it needs to be multiple goals.
Yeah,
over
multiple
certain-
goal- yeah.
Just so we can kind of keep track, so we all know what the end goal, end result's gonna
yeah,
be.
because we all know that once the ground frozen, he's not gonna be able to dig for retaining wall and that type of stuff, so. That's
I
understandable.
think his neighbor's retired, yeah, I'll go help him.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Brings us to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on it? We want to, at this time, I'd like to bring number 5 on the buyback on the burial spaces off the consent agenda.
I'm sorry. You just want to talk about it? You just want me to?
Or you can,
We'll just talk about it and then.
okay,
See-
we'll talk
see where it
about
goes.
discussion on this.
The mayor had inquired about buyback of burial spaces and how other cities handle it. So I put out a listserv and it's kind of all over the board. Some cities do it at the original price, some do it at half, some 25%, and some cities don't do it at all. So in the past, we have done it. And I know that Dale had indicated that this particular space, there's a big tree on it, so I had the deed in my office and the owners do not live here in Kansas anymore. No children, anything like that, so that's why they were wanting to give it back to us. Just wanted you to know.
So there's $200 there that, you'd be buying them back for, or, which is,
How do you know where the $200 would go?
What do you mean?
Well, if you buy them back.
Because it's the deed holder. The deed holders brought them in, and that's who we would pay. They brought the deed into us. They purchased the deed, and they brought it back to us. They don't need the spaces anymore, so we would pay them.
Is $50 the current value?
Yes. The amount of the spaces hasn't changed for several years.
Do we have to pay to record these deeds, or is there any administrative costs or anything involved?
Our time in here, typing them up and updating the books.
I still think it's good. I'm familiar with a couple cemeteries that don't do it, and you end up having to grow your cemetery eventually because you've got a bunch of unsold plots in the middle, here, there, and everywhere. And you just assume be able to sell those and keep it concise and easy to maintain.
Yeah, I think we should buy it back, but I'm just wondering if we shouldn't incur any expenses to do it.
I agree with that.
So you would propose what, maybe do like a 10%, like if that's the cut that covers the administrative fees of selling them back, something like that. That way you're not profiting off of it, but you're
Right.
covering your administrative expenses.
Right.
I would think 10% ought to be fair.
$20? That'd be 10%.
I think that wouldn't prohibit them from doing it, and you can justify it based on the time to prepare the papers.
It's
like a
10%
restock fee.
off of what we're going to refund.
Right,
Is that what you're saying?
10% the refund less 10% administrative transfer fees, or however you want to term it.
I'd be comfortable with that.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Does that need to be by ordinance? How do we do that?
So you're amending the consent agenda
Correct.
to
To reflect a rebate of 10% will withhold to cover fees. And I don't know, going forward, is it just policy?
Yeah, I think that's just a policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I propose we maintain that going forward as well.
We do only purchase back 4 at a time, picking up one single moving box.
you only 4 at a time is,
What about,
It's the only way we sell.
okay.
Unless you're in the single section.
what if there's,
So we don't purchase back.
I wonder if that's gonna happen.
Well, this is for.
Right.
But I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, if you're talking policy,
Yeah, that's why it was 2, okay.
So are these,
you're selling 4s or 8s unless you're in the single section.
if somebody was to, they own these and they wanted to sell them on their own, they're free to do that, or are they not free to do
Yeah,
that?
and we have some people that have numbers and stuff down with Dale.
Okay.
If they want, if they have a couple of spaces and somebody's interested.
They only want 2
Then they
or
work
whatever.
out, yeah, and then they
Okay.
do a deed amongst themselves. So,
Okay. I think that kind of covers us, and we won't get inundated, but.
Right.
okay.
Okay. So will you read back the amendment? Huh?
The
Yeah.
amendment would be to amending the consent agenda to include the 10% administrative fee for the burial space buyback and establish policy going forward.
Okay, that is the amendment to the consent agenda. That first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Then I'm back to the consent agenda. I need approval for the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
We already have a motion.
Okay, we already just have a motion, okay. So, then, any more discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
Okay,
that's great, thank you.
that takes care of that.
Move to approve appropriations ordinance 3640.
Second.
I have a motion, a second on approval of appropriation ordinance number 3640. Roll call, please.
Discussion?
Oh, discussion, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, well, just for the sake of getting this out here, is there, like I said, when we make our big purchases, I like to know that everybody's thought about it and they're real comfortable with it. And one of them was the inline construction waterline loop at Hartley Ridge North, the 8th phase for $32,237.50. And
Some of it was on the Black Diamond drainage too, wasn't it?
The
Oh,
concrete,
back-
the
yes.
concrete up there, yeah.
yeah, so is everybody comfortable with the work that was done there? Anybody have any objections?
Looks real nice.
Looks good. Okay, and then the CES Group, engineering services field work at 12th Street drainage and preliminary manhole rehab, lake to industrial park heights easement, and that's $8,107. And another big one was the CIPP, Midlands Contracting, for $129,282.50. Everybody real comfortable with that one? For Schwab Eaton, the engineering services for the appeal, $34,111.02. I think that's the best money we spent.
I do too.
Right there, to argue on our behalf to keep us from being in, having problems being in a flood district in our industrial park. That's handled. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
It's done.
Is everybody else comfortable with all these expenditures? I just like that out there.
Yep.
Okay, then I have nothing else.
Okay. Roll call?
Beichman?
Yes.
Biesinger?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Ekis?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Schroller?
Yes.
Crom?
Yes.
It's 8-0.
Staff reports, Austin.
All right. First, Randy Prowitz from Farmers Cooperative regrets that he could not be here to discuss this. But I went and talked with a few on the airport board. Todd was one of them, and remind me of
Rich Landau.
Rich Landau was the other, at placement of the, of where they can put the crop duster while they're using it, or really what it comes down to is while they're filling up, because I asked, are they gonna leave it overnight and only when they're here for days at a time, which they felt they were just gonna fly in and then fly back out, and that would be it. They'd have a trailer there, a fuel while they were working, not while they're stationed in Fairbury or anything like that. And really all they wanted was a place to put chemicals, or not, put the chemicals in and the water in, and get the water from one of our hydrants. So, with that said, there is, and Craig brought this to my attention, there is a portion in our code book that says specifically where to put crop dusters, which is north of the current apron, which right now is Landall's space.
Hangar, right?
Yeah. And that would be, I mean, that's his hangar. And also, our apron is going to be under construction, even if we amended our ordinances or whatnot, it's going to be under construction. So thoughts or questions on your guys' part?
Excuse me, where north of Landals? Where is it?
North of the apron. North of current apron is what it says in our ordinances.
Where the new hangar is now. Is the ordinance designated spot, but now there's something built there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's nothing there, because what they're talking about here, the portion of the apron taxiway where the current tie-downs exist, those are right there, right out front there, before you turn and go down between the hangars.
Right. Right, and I wrote that before he pointed out that this was our ordinance to put north of the current apron.
Yeah, because we have people that come in and use those tie downs.
Right. And like I said, they aren't planning to leave it very often. If they do, they're here for multiple days on end.
Right.
It's not they're not going to be housed out of here. They want a place they can sit down, fuel up, put water in and their chemicals, and then fly off.
Did he come down after we talked?
Yes.
Did you show him some of our thoughts as far as the old entry
Right.
way road and things? What did he think on
He
that?
said that would be doable. I mean, that'd be doable, not optional, not
Optimal?
optimal. There we go.
What about talking with Landell's himself and about putting it on the corner of their
We kind of looked at that.
slab out
There's
there?
a fuel truck parked there now, and
Okay.
then there's not a whole lot of clearance, wing clearance
Okay.
coming out of it.
I mean, I was just,
Because
just
I
curious,
asked Rich
'cause-
about that as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that'd be kind of a challenge.
okay.
Yeah, he's got a 52-foot wingspan. And it's,
Got a pretty good sized plane then.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a challenge to put it where the tie downs are and allow room for anybody.
Well, he'd pull in and, yeah, next to him, yes. But getting by him wouldn't be a problem, going to your hangar or anything like that.
And what we had looked at when we were out there is there's a spot, maybe 2, 3, 4, there's no hangar 5 maybe. There's a gap between hangars kind of on the southwest side where you can see where there was a hangar. The other idea was closer than that and probably with a better substrate is where the old airport road entered. They're just south of hangar 2. Because, I don't know, I can probably point it out on here pretty well. Right here, because that's where the old airport road entered.
Right.
And there's a really good base under it. It's more than a hangar space. It's got a good base, and that's kind of where we thought you wouldn't have to taxi very far to get there. It'd be easier to get in and out.
Right.
So that was kind of where we're leaning. As far as the hydrant they use, where is that hydrant on Airport Road? I'm trying to, it seems like I should know.
Trying to,
Is it right beyond there?
Right. I thought it was right on the intersection.
David will know.
Fire hydrant? Yeah, by the airport.
Or not fire hydrant, but water, just straight water.
Oh, not hydrant.
Yeah, hydrant. Not fire hydrant, but
The hydrant's on the south of the building.
south.
Yeah, it's right by the building.
Okay.
Yeah. All they need
I
is
thought it
garden
was
hose.
fire hydrant, okay.
Yeah.
Fire hydrant's just kind of west of the hangar, north and west.
It is, okay, that's right, kind of where I thought it was.
Kind of still a
But
little,
according to ordinance, we can't
still a
put it there,
little west
correct?
of the
Yeah, yes. But these are kind of, I mean, these are circumstances where,
Can we modify the
Change the ordinance.
ordinance?
I don't know,
I mean,
the reason why it was put there in the first place, it
Yeah.
might be worth looking into, if there's a legitimate reason. but-
I imagine it was the flattest piece of convenient yet not in the way ground.
but even if we do, I mean, even if we changed it there, I mean, depending on construction of the
Right.
apron, there still could be a time he could not correct, get
They
in and
sounded
out
like
or
they were
not.
gonna, what, put down
they're gonna
probably
try,
a hot mix.
it's either going to
path.
be, the ideal way that we're looking at doing it is being able to just put a cement path and doing that right away so we can get that and it be a part of the future apron.
Right.
More than likely, what I'm going to guess is they're going to put a temporary pathway with asphalt to get planes in and out.
Okay.
So that there's going to be access. It might be downtime for a day or something like that, but there's going to be access.
And it'll probably be between the new apron and the crosswind runway. I mean, that's about the only,
Right.
there's not a whole lot of room there. So that's why we kind of talked about, there's not really room there to even, for the spray plane to set up shop either. There's just not a whole lot of places right there.
So who pays for the temporary road?
Oh, that would be part of the
It'd
apron
be part of the
project.
project.
That's part of the apron project. That's not something for us or for the sprayer, that's,
And that's already there. What's left there of it's there.
Well, I'm for approving use of airport space pending contract. I mean, we need to move forward. We haven't signed a contract yet. I think we need to lock in exactly what space we're gonna use, but there's gotta be a place out
I was
there
gonna
to
say-
accommodate these people.
and if he's okay with using that spot, I don't know where we're gonna have anywhere else. It's not, nobody goes through there.
Right.
It's got a good surface. It's easy for him. And this is obviously good use of the airport. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
This is
Since
why we have an
we're
airport.
going into a contract and I would assume it guarantees him access. If for some reason the construction project denies that access, do we need to have any coverage that says something out of our control that
Yeah,
we
hold
can't,
harmless.
otherwise could he sue us and say, you denied my access and you need to spend an extra $10,000 whatever to,
That's a good question.
I'm just, the other thing I was going to ask is, on the first page it says something, they want to purge their equipment there?
I talked to him about that. And he said he did not know what they were talking about in this portion, that all they would purge if it would come down to it, because the way they do it is they put the chemical in there first, and then they put water on top to make the mixture. The only thing that would be purged would be water from the hose lines going in. Anything, he has a dry lock system where everything locked up to the plane. Once you unlock it, there's not going to be a drip or anything out of there. But something like this, which we would discuss, is to hold them accountable for cleanup and possibly even fixing the soil around the area, which Ollie said he was going to do is have fungicide really in there. But if he damages any property, anything like that, this contract would protect us. And we did talk, Debbie did talk to our insurance provider, and it wouldn't affect us, but it really would go on their insurance if that happened.
When he has the bond.
Yeah.
Talks about.
Yeah.
Do we need approval of the FAA for this?
No.
Do we need to talk to them?
We're pretty much, we already have set up in our current ordinances for spray plants.
Okay.
So it's all, it's all,
Let's go.
we can amend that and go forth.
Need a motion or just a consensus?
Probably motion.
Yeah, let's put a motion.
Motion to go forward pending contract.
Move
Yeah.
to approve Farmers Cooperative crop duster use of the airport space pending contract.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to allow Farmers Cooperative crop dust out of Marysville out at the airport. Any discussion further on it? Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose? Carried. Okay.
Second is the access management KDOT agreement. It's pretty standard, saying they'd pay up to $100,000 for a study done on our corridor from east to west, and they've actually got the mileage wrong. They doubled our mileage.
Cool.
But
Leave it.
I told them about it and they fixed it. I don't think studying 3 miles, although 2 miles outside our city limits is going to help us that much. But so with that amendment from they submitted, it was 3.35 miles is what the amended from, where does it say, study, under definition of study, is what the amendment is. From 6.7 miles to 3.35 miles. That would be the amendment. But up to $100,000 for the study. In beginning talks, they said they did not see this going over $100,000, which if it went over $100,000 and we wanted it to study more, we would be 100% responsible. But if it does get to that point where it's looking like it's going over $100,000, KDOT knows places to cut in the study to keep it below that, so we don't have to pay anything for this. And that's pretty much what this is. They won't pay for anything outside of the study. We would be responsible. If it adds something for us, but not to KDOT, they won't pay for it. We'll have to be responsible. But if we come up with, it looks like if we come up with something that's mutually beneficial and it's underneath the $100,000, they'll pay for that. And they didn't already include it in the study.
That's just on the Highway 36 corridor, correct?
Yes, from, like I said, from the 3rd Street. city limits, east and west, half a mile north of center line and half a mile south. Half a mile south actually hits Keystone, and half a mile north hits North Street.
Move to approve KDOT agreement for the access management plan.
Second.
Got a motion, and a second, to approve the KDOT access management plan. Any discussion on it?
Discussion, please.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem. So their experience is that $100,000 will cover this? This is pretty standard?
It's their standard setup.
Okay, then anything over $100,000, like if we want to add anything, like what? Like what?
If we come up with something that, I mean,
Outside the
we might, in the middle of the study, we might go, hey, you want to look at this? And I don't have an example right offhand, but if we come up with something and expand the study, then like, why don't we ask if Ready Mix is going to expand blah blah blah, and see if that goes somewhere, and if that puts it over $100,000, we're not going to get covered. So it's just, if we ask them to look into something deeper, and it brings it over $100,000, then
Okay. I just didn't want to get into this study and we get up to $100,000 and they say, and that's all we're doing, and study's not done, and then we're stuck for money that we're not even aware yet how much it could end up being.
They were pretty sure that this was not going to go over $100,000. And think of this as it's not a standard project. It's not, we don't have materials to pay for. We don't have, it's somebody going, engineer coming in, asking questions, designing ideas.
So it could be like the 11th Street, 12th Road plan going out by Hometown Lumber or something like that.
Right, something like that. And it's not, $100,000 is going to go quite a bit for just the time that they're spending on it. Because we're not planning on building a road yet. It's just
preliminary plans.
Preliminary plans, and then we agree to those plans, and once we agree to them, actually they bring the plans forth, and we go, well, we don't agree with that. Can we readjust that and go? And then once we both agree to what's going on, it's now a final plan. Which then we agree to do that. There's possibly a pot of money at the end of the whole thing that will help us implement it.
As we're talking about this, have we had any more communication with Orchlands? I mean, they've gone away from the Club 36 area, but have they decided on anything else along that corridor that maybe we better
I know
think
they've
about
been
that
asking
before we do
questions.
this?
I know they've been asking questions of I want to say CES said they were questioning some things, but we haven't had any communication as far as them moving forward, and they've never.
Maybe they can inform us before we have this done. They could be included.
And they yes, and we've created a list of people to talk to, which would be one-on-one. They're also going to do large meetings. In stages, and we'll have all this. We had our first meeting, and we gave them a list of names to talk to as one-on-one, and then in the there's going to be public input from
public hearings.
Yes, from I guess they're going to section it off and have public hearings. But they will keep us informed. We'll be a part of the project the whole way. I'm looking for good things out of this.
Thank you, Austin.
Yes.
Is the east, is 12th Road?
East, our city, as they have it, because they went off their clink boundaries. They just have it as I think it equals about 12th Road.
12th Road. And then what on the west?
3rd Street.
I bet you it's probably 3rd.
I think it's across the bridge.
Well, because,
It's
a little, it is across the bridge. There's some property out there in city limits. But, see, we have this that extends a little bit further than 12th.
Oh, a little past 12th Road.
And then I was thinking when I was looking at it, I was measuring it from here, but I don't think they'll go out to here. They'll probably come back.
I think it's just west of Highway 77.
Yeah. Just west of there. Yeah, because this is all city limits right here. Right there.
It's not that far. I mean,
that's-
Vicki, it's not that far, but there was,
That encompasses Breeding Heights.
it
That's the
didn't,
road.
it goes west of Highway 77, and they gave us a distance, but I don't remember how much. It didn't go to the road, the north-south road on the west side of Breeding Heights.
Okay.
Why are we paying for dust abatement out there?
It's the Highway 36 corridor. They're studying everything on either side of it all the way through.
I think we've done dust abatement on that road. Why are we paying for that if that's not in the city limits? That's just a, huh?
That road is.
Okay, okay.
The study's really about this core central area. Businesses, Walmart, to everything getting on there. They're looking at accesses. So that's our main concern. Yes, they might, but the meat of the whole thing is right in here.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you need to add, authorize the mayor to sign, or do you sign this?
Motion and second.
The mayor.
I didn't know if you, usually we add that on, I didn't know if you need that to the motion or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to add for the mayor to authorize to sign to the motion. Second, who was, that good for you to add for the mayor to authorize signature?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I agree to that.
Okay. So we have a motion, second. Discussion's been on it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Back to all right. Financials. All right. I attached all the financials, and there was some stuff to be talked about. General fund in particular. The expenditures were a little high this month, and they look a little high. Some of the main contributors are, as I listed out, tires for loader, 5,500, which we're not going to be spending next year. So we took that out of next year's costs. Street sweeper repairs, about 4,650. Let's see, we did some fire truck pump testing, 2,200. Spending of grant money for fire equipment. We paid our half of the grant for fire equipment. We were training a new police officer, and we also had a third payroll, which kind of threw the whole system through a loop. That happens about twice a year. But other than, like I mentioned in here, other than the increased spending, general fund's at 77% for the year as far as the budget. Water is at 44%, sewer is at 58% of spending. Revenue's not exactly up to what I expected, but it's not because we're spending lots and lots of money.
As long as we don't have a major snowstorm between now and the end of the year.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we purchased was salt. $3,000 worth of salt. That added it in there.
I got a question. $4,650 to repair the street sweeper, was that before the fire?
Yes. Yep. Before the fire. We had an insurance, our insurance adjuster out. Today we had a fire investigator out because the insurance company wanted to make sure it wasn't the fault of the people who repaired because it was such a quick, but they put 90 miles on in between the repair and the fire, so that was it was working just fine. Justified that it was probably leaves on top of the manifold that started the fire. So that just got done today. So now all we're waiting for on the street sweeper is a ruling from our insurance company whether they're going to pay to fix it or they're going to pay the total price. And I'm looking into plans for if they total it out.
Total replacement, yay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Okay. Let me think, what did she say? On my last item, last listed item, employee raises, workshop dates. I emailed the mayor, and she said she wanted to hold an admin finance on that, and she had to be determined date on the employee raises. And she also said January 4th was not going to work for her, and she was going to be out of town. She asked for the next week, and I was looking at January 11th, and that's just a suggestion. If you guys have problems with that, we can move that around.
What day is January 11th?
Wednesday.
What time of day?
It says 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? 5 o'clock.
You just need a consensus on this or a motion?
Yeah, consensus.
That's all right with me.
Okay.
Me too.
Fine with me.
Yeah. Should work.
Should.
Okay. And then I placed... Okay, we can talk about what the clerk sent out was in your info packet, actually. The neighborhood revitalization program that the county has put on. They want to extend it for another 3 years. Why it was just in your info packet is because we thought they were holding a meeting on December 19th, and then we could review it afterwards, and that was a discussion between me and the mayor, so we decided to put it in the info packet for you guys. But further on down, it says they want it by the 16th, unless you're showing up on the 19th to deliver it, which kind of didn't, to me, it didn't make any sense, but...
That was the extra.
No.
That you got with your packet.
But
Yeah, you did.
Do we need a motion to approve this?
It ain't in there.
if you want to approve it tonight,
With this.
I mean,
Pick this up.
discuss amongst yourselves.
Debbie, I don't have that.
It ain't in. You didn't have it?
Can keep looking.
Okay, yeah, you can look at
Select it home.
So we probably don't need that motion tonight.
this one's the original copy.
Well, in the past, we had talked about the city coming up with some sort of a policy that the city be included when, and not the county making the decision on revitalization, especially when it's property within the city.
When I, in my previous position, that's exactly how it happened. When somebody wanted to do the neighborhood revitalization, now it's not we did the 10 years, 100%. But to get in the neighborhood revitalization program, you had to come to the city, present, or fill out an application to go to the county and then come back to the city. That was kind of what the lawyer set up. But, I mean, that's something we can request if it's within the city limits. That if it is in the city limits, that they do fill out an application that does take the signature of the mayor or the authorization of the council or the signature of whoever.
That's how that should be.
It should.
I agree.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Why, Bill?
I don't. I think if the county wants to do it, then that's fine, let it go. It's for 3 years, and I think you're gonna make it more difficult on somebody to build onto their house or make improvements than it's gonna be worth in monetary value to us. And it's gonna take time for everybody to sign it, everybody to prove it. Dave's gonna have something more to do. I think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, but I noticed in other cities, they don't always grant 100%. Say a business has received it once, they don't always grant 100%. You know, they look at each one.
Now, I might be wrong, but this is not the same as a 10-year tax abatement.
No.
This is just a neighborhood revitalization of somebody that wants to either build a house or redo a house, or business, and it's an entirely different thing than the 10-year tax abatement. And I think making it more difficult is not a good thing. I think in the long run, if somebody fixes their house up or their property, more taxes are gonna come in because it'll be reappraised than trying to make it tough on them to go here, to go there.
That's right. It's on the improvements itself.
Yeah.
Well, I think if anybody backs out of it, it should be the county and not the city on this.
I do not agree with that, Vicki.
I heard you say that. I heard you say that.
I think the city ought to back out of it.
That's why I asked you why.
City
Well,
ought to back out of it and go with this right here, and it'll help us in the long run. It's not gonna help us in the quick fix, but it'll help us in the long run.
well, I don't see
We'll get more money in taxes eventually.
I don't see saying no. If somebody wants to make improvements, I think that we should encourage that.
I think so too, but why make somebody keep going through hoops to get something done? Maybe a gentleman said when he said he wouldn't build another house in Marysville, doing things like this, making it tougher, maybe he's right.
I think part of the objection people have is that the county commissioners seem to be a rubber stamp on too much.
Yes.
And we don't look at ourselves as being a rubber stamp, and that's the concern.
And if it's in our city and it's going to sit next to my house, I would prefer that the city made the decision, not the county. I don't think they pay as much attention to our zonings.
They're still gonna have to get a building permit, and they gotta get the
Right.
building permit from David.
Right, and if the county approves it, Dave's
So-
going to give it to them.
They still gotta get it, Vicki.
I
They're
know.
still gonna have to pay for it.
Right.
There's no sense in having to go through another step just so the city can monitor it, when David's gonna be monitoring anyway. That's just my opinion.
And the positive to this is that you're not losing out on tax dollars because it is just the improvements that you're abating the taxes on. I was going to say something else, and it's not 100% on the improvements. I believe it's
80, 40, 30 or something like that.
Yeah, 80, 40, 30, somewhere in there.
80, 60, 30.
80, 60,
Okay,
30.
80, 60, 30.
So you're still making a little bit money off of there. And it also guarantees that they will be paying their taxes because the first time they don't pay their taxes, they're out of the program.
Right.
They have to pay their taxes and then they get the money back.
Right.
From the improvement.
Be current on their taxes.
Yes, they have to
pay it and then you get it back.
Except this past year, there were several who didn't pay their taxes on time, and the county commissioners said,
Not all of them.
okay, we forgive you.
Now they're
One of
reinstated.
them they didn't. But yeah.
As the rules are set up, as the rules are set up, if they're late, they are automatically kicked out.
Okay, so you want to let the county handle it, and we just stay out of it? Is that everybody
I do.
feels? Okay, well, this meeting that they're going to have is an informative meeting. Do you feel like that we should agree to sign something before an informative meeting is held?
I think it really is just a public hearing as a preempt to see if anybody has any problems with it. I think they were looking at us, at all stakeholders to go, yep, we approve, and then having all their ducks in a row, and then having the public go, well, yes or no, rather than, so they lined up a program, which is us, and got them all to say yes, and then they go, we got a program to the public.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Okay.
But I don't agree with how they just sent it out rather than talking to us, but that's already done.
So what's before us for action?
Need a motion to approve?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve the neighborhood revitalization agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the neighborhood revitalization agreement.
I'll second it.
It's been a motion, second, for the neighborhood revitalization plan interlocal agreement between the city and the county. Have a motion and a first and a second. Have any discussion on it?
Well, in the future, I would prefer that they let us know and let us address something without such a short deadline.
Yeah. Pending review.
Yeah, and want to send attorney for pending review?
I want to get home, just in case there's a pitfall. I don't know. There's probably not, but Mayor Grant asked if you could review it, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Fine, okay. No further discussion? Motion, or, all in favor, say aye.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Aye.
Yes.
Would you read the motion? Did it include with our attorney's review?
Yes.
Okay, so we're voting to approve it after our attorney has reviewed it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarification.
And the mayor signed.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then the mayor also wanted me to discuss this used tire grant, which would go towards filling our playground with rubber chips. It's a 50-50 grant. We pay for 50, the state would pay for 50. And I believe that we've gone after this in the past.
We've got it in the past.
And we've got it in the past. So I guess I'm looking for approval to move forward in applying for this grant, which is due in February 15th.
Move to approve going forward applying for the grant.
I second it.
Got a motion and a second to approve going on the waste tire grant program for 2017. Have any more discussion on this? Have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I think that's all from me right now.
Okay. So if you, Debbie, do you have anything for us tonight?
I just wanted to say thank you for the Christmas party. The employees appreciated it, and there were 100 RSVPs, and I think that the caterer said we ended up serving 88. So wow, a lot of people came. It was well attended and a great night. So thank you.
Okay. Standing committee reports. Street?
The only thing the street had was what Austin talked about. We had a Highway 36 corridor meeting, and that's basically it. The highway's nice out here since they took the humps out.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot nicer. On 6th Street, you know, they've done the overlay project, well, when they redid the sewer projects down there. Some of the manholes aren't clear up to the top of the street. Can we get those raised somewhere along the line, or do we cut 6th Street going south and north all along it? Some of those manholes you drop off a couple inches down into.
Yeah.
If we could get them either raised or, you know, cut the diamond in them and concrete them and whatever they need to do to kind of level them up. Those aren't the only ones. There's several in town.
There's some other ones you can actually see the street wearing where everybody curves around them because all the locals know where they are.
On Center Street.
Center Street, really, on the highway.
Yeah.
That'll be taken care of, we hope.
Yeah, when they overlay.
The ones on Center Street are hopefully in the plans. I know Kent's already pointed out some that we need to work on before we get that done. Okay. But yes, we can take a look at that.
Okay. Water and wastewater. Nothing there. Parks and Recreation. If any of you have been up by the ballpark, Bloomers, or Inline Construction got the concrete and the wall and everything in on the Black Diamond. Looks real nice. Just room back there and put a picnic table down below. And
Got the drainage down there.
yeah, put a new drainage tile in and took the water out to the field and stuff, so did a nice job up there. Cemetery and Airport.
Kind of covered that, I think.
Yep. Police and Fire. Administration and Finance.
So are we, at the meeting on Friday, are we gonna also do the salary discussion, or are we just talking about the chamber agreement?
I think that could be
I don't think we'll
incorporated.
have time, will we?
We have time, I mean,
Really, that if we meet today, the chamber agreement
Yeah.
should not take an hour.
Okay.
So I would like to at least try to address it. If we can, if we need to schedule a follow-up meeting, that's fine,
Talk
but
about scheduling that.
Yeah, who voted for that thing to be at 8 o'clock? Okay, I'm in.
because the other one's at 9 and
Do they have any idea
Okay,
what our
yeah.
insurance is doing for next year yet?
Health insurance?
Yeah.
Not yet,
Not
no.
yet.
We renew in October, so
Okay.
we've got a ways.
All right, I just knew with the bid stuff.
Austin, on that salary, we talked at one point about doing a study on, and I don't know if that's something we can do through the league or, just to make sure we're on, we won't have anything for this year, obviously, but
a study for all of our,
yeah.
the league just came out with their study, and I haven't printed that one off, but,
Okay.
that would be something to look at.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I've looked at that before. It's hard to
Austin.
correlate
What is
sometimes
this?
their,
State.
yeah.
This is the state.
That's state, thank you.
It's been sleeping here at class.
I have a question. Have we started, Debbie, when you're gonna start doing interviews for the new hire position?
A few, I've had a few.
I didn't know if you're doing them as they go or how you're doing
Had
that.
a few and put that in the paper this week, so.
Yeah.
Working toward something.
Getting someone in there.
Some good ones.
Yeah, and Debbie's been working on the pool manager ad, and we'll get that in this month.
No appointments or wage determination. Mr. City Attorney, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do not.
Executive session? Roundtable discussion? Keith,
You're starting off with me.
I'll start right off with you, buddy.
On this 12th Street, I think I brought up that if they're concerned about safety, I think we really do need to put a stop sign down there. I think I don't care what the chief says, his biggest concern is safety. I don't think he would should pose a stop sign down there. I think we need to have one.
On that, I did forget that I think I wrote that in one of my highlights. That do you want to put the police committee together
Police committee.
and talk about it because Todd did come up with some ideas about how to solve that issue. Do we want to have the police committee?
Well, I'll hear. Yeah, let's have the meeting first, and let's go from there.
Okay.
Is that really a police and fire, or is it a zoning? I'm just wondering, is that really a police and fire? I know, I saw your note, but
Yeah.
is that really?
It's as I've always seen our police department as our traffic. They control they control the traffic. They know exactly what's going on.
Fair enough. Do you want to, Deb, do you want us to
We'll schedule something.
schedule a meeting?
Yeah.
Then? Okay.
And I think we should still pursue on taking 12th Street all the way to Jayhawk Road, because I think if you really read through the subdivision regulations, that there are some, or could be, some violations committed. So I think we should have continuous meetings on that and get all our legal information and ducks in a row before we present it again.
Okay. Craig look into
I think we can have more meetings on it.
Okay.
I would caution throwing any more money at it.
Okay, at this current time?
Yeah, at this current time.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Bill?
No.
Darlene?
Well, I want to thank everybody for putting up, and all those who have put up the Christmas lights, and ask all the citizens to continue to vote for the best light decorations.
Nothing? Nothing. Todd? Vicki?
I agree with Darlene. I think there's more decorations up in town this year. I don't know if Light Up Marysville has made it happen, but if you're having a stressful evening, just get in the car and go out and look at the Christmas lights. Pour you some hot chocolate, get a friend, drag the kids in the car, turn on some Christmas music, it'll put you in the mood. Honestly, I'm kind of a bah humbug person for Christmas usually, but I got out there and looked at some of these lights. Some of them are very creative. And even the ones that just have that one that's always shown on TV where the red and green lights blink around your house, that's enough to even dress up a house. It just kind of makes you smile to get out there and to see the work that the people have put in to dress their houses up for the holiday. It's very inspiring. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Dennis?
I have nothing.
You have nothing? Just again, want to thank the employees and those that were here from the council for coming to the Christmas party the other night. Everyone had a great time, it sounded like. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas out there, and like Vicki and Darlene said, the Christmas lights are beautiful. Get out, drive around Marysville. It's a beautiful sight. Our fair city has to see. So,
Ride the bus and take the tour.
Yeah. And shop Marysville.
Other than that, that's all I have, I guess.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.